is ANN News Brief.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucy Adeyemi. Ekiti State government says it has imposed a nighttime curfew from today, Monday, to curb the spread of COVID-19. The curfew will begin from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. local time. The state says it is concerned about the alarming rate of which the second wave of coronavirus is spreading in the country. All gatherings of more than 20 persons have been banned. State spokesperson in Ekiti State, Akimbawale Omole, says essential services providers would not be affected by the new restrictions. There is no indication of when the restrictive measures will be lifted. Authorities say places of worship are allowed to have 2 services on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday till 2 p.m. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, said the nation has crossed the 100,000 mark of COVID-19 infections after more than 1,000 new cases were confirmed in the last 24 hours on Sunday. Niger authorities have promised not to abandon the troubled west of the country, where attacks by jihadis have been prevalent. Niger's Interior Minister made the promise over the weekend at a meeting of local leaders. The government described last week's deadly attack its worst ever jihadist massacre against civilians. 9 days ago, at least 100 civilians in 2 villages were killed by attackers riding motorbikes in hours-long attacks in the jihadist-plagued region of Tilaberi, 120 kilometers north of the capital Niamey. 3 days of national mourning was declared for the massacre. Now, the central government says it wants to strengthen cohesion along the border. Interior Minister Alakche Alhada told political, religious, and community leaders at a meeting in the town of Walam that Niamey will not abandon the people and would always be by their side. French forces working with local troops have stepped up operations in the region since early 2020, following a string of attacks on military camps that killed hundreds of soldiers. We'll be right back.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network, ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
The United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, says it has continued to register new refugee arrivals at the Sudanese-Ethiopian border. The agency says 800 persons crossed from Ethiopia's Tigray region into eastern Sudan in just the first few days of the new year. Since early November, more than 56,000 Ethiopian refugees are reported to have fled to neighboring Sudan. In support of a government-led response in Sudan, UNHCR and Sudan's Commission for Refugees say they have continued to relocate the refugees from their arrival locations at the border to the designated refugee camps further inland in Sudan's Gadaref state. Meanwhile, the European Union, EU, has asked for unrestricted humanitarian access to conflict-hit Tigray region after a meeting with the Ethiopian government and the EU's foreign policy chief, Joseph Borrell. Borrell said this was not a request to the Ethiopian government, but a requirement under international law. The United Nations says it has been denied access to the 2 camps for Eritrean refugees. That is ANN News Brief at 1. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Lucy Adeyemi.